This is question time for Political Science 111, American National Government, Bucks County Community College. It's May 11th, 2009. My name's John Deal, and we received a few questions from the class that I'd like to go over today. One of them was to name a recent Supreme Court case that would be known by many people. I think the case of Suzette Kelo versus the city of New London, Connecticut would be one that a lot of folks would relate to. And if any of you studied state and local government, you also would probably know about this case. That's where the Supreme Court ruled by a vote of 5-4 that it's permissible to use the Fifth Amendment takings clause, which is known as eminent domain, to purchase someone's property for a fair price and then sell it to a developer who would build a new structure or a new development in the area, which would raise the tax revenue for the town. The Supreme Court ruled that that is okay. That has created a lot of discussion about whether that's appropriate or not, and several states have passed laws in their own particular areas saying that this is not permissible. And more and more states are thinking of doing that. So the Supreme Court said it's constitutional as long as the state legislature says it is. So the place to go if you don't like this is the state legislature, and the Supreme Court will probably let the ban on such things stand if the state legislature can be convinced to go that way. Lindsay Becker wants to know if any nominees for the Supreme Court have ever been rejected. Of course, there have been some. 12 times a nominee for the Supreme Court has failed on a vote on the Senate floor. Also, a nominee to be Chief Justice was once filibustered, and Abe Fortas was unable to become Chief Justice due to a filibuster that took place on the Senate floor. There have been cases where senatorial courtesy has been followed, where a senator from the home state of the person being nominated says, well, I don't like that person, and the president won't even mention their name. He won't even make it public unless the senator from the state says it's okay. So we don't know how many times that has happened. That can be a case as well. Also, people have withdrawn their names during the Senate debate because of opposition. That happens from time to time. The last person rejected was Robert Bork in 1987. And there have been other people who have been withdrawn. For example, Harriet Miers during President Bush's recent administration, and Douglas Ginsburg, who was a Ronald Reagan appointment, withdrew his name when it was discovered that he had smoked marijuana. So sometimes people can be rejected. Josh Minitz wants to know what the president can do to further reduce crime. I'm not sure what more we can do. We're spending so much money. We have more people in prison per capita than any country. We have more executions than most countries. We spend a tremendous amount of money. Two things that have been brought up that could be done that some people think is appropriate would be the legalization of drugs, which would take the organized crime out of that, and a lot of the crime driven by drugs would be perhaps lessened. Of course, the drugs, these people also say should be regulated. It's not like just let everything go wild. It would be regulated and taxed, and the taxes would be used to rehabilitate people who become addicted. Those two things, that might help. And another item is the assault weapons. There used to be a law against having an AK-47, for example, and that law has been allowed to expire, so now you can own such a weapon, or M16 or whatever. And President Obama has been asked by law enforcement to push Congress to reinstate the assault weapons ban. He's declined to do so because he has so much on his plate right now. He doesn't want to spend his political capital trying to get that passed. But those weapons are used mainly by, can be used by criminals against police who don't have the same weapons. And they also are used in the Mexican drug trade, which is a major issue down there and along the U.S. border right now. So perhaps you could work on those two things. As far as your suggestion about declaring martial law, constitutionally the president can do that, and if he wishes to, but that would take away the right of habeas corpus, where the police could arrest you without charging you with anything just because they have a reason or want to. I don't think we want to live under that kind of a system long term, and I don't see that as a viable way to go. He wouldn't need a constitutional amendment. He could declare it, but he or she better have a good reason to do that, or it's going to be either his or her political end. James Krupa was concerned about the red tape involved in getting the smallest things done with the bureaucracy, and he wondered if it's a bad thing for the lowest levels of the bureaucracy to have a say on regulations, and whether that would jeopardize the impartiality of the system. I think that you must have, and we have had, a hierarchical system in the bureaucracy, a chain of command, where superiors watch what the folks under them are doing, and keep them on a leash so that things don't get out of control. Otherwise, you would have chaos, and that would not be obviously a very good thing. I think you do need some flexibility at the lowest levels of the government in order for the government to work efficiently. Signing statements. A question about that from James was whether or not they are still in effect when the next president comes into office. It depends whether the new administration wants them to be in effect or not. If the new administration doesn't like them, they can have their appointees in the various administrative bureaus change the regulations in the bureau or the agency or the administration to not have that interpretation of the law apply. The signing statements that get the most controversy are the ones that have to do with the constitutionality of certain parts of the law. And this has really not been attacked by Congress. Congress has kind of let that slide. One example of a signing statement was ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court. It was one of President Bush's regarding the detainees, and that case, Hamdan versus Rumsfeld. Rumsfeld lost, the Secretary of Defense, in that case. So the Supreme Court has fired a little bit of a warning shot there that they have the ability to overrule some signing statements. Other signing statements are just comments, like editorial comments made by the president, and therefore they're not necessarily trying to change the way the law is implemented. James also had a question about, I guess that's it from James. Administrative judgments at the lowest levels can be changed in relationship to that last question. Congress can leave specific details up to the agencies or change the laws through their oversight. The courts may rule in implementation, like in the case I just said with Donald Rumsfeld. And, of course, the president can give directions to the people in the three agencies. So any of the three branches can have an effect on how the bureaucracy works. Lisa Davidson wants to know if it matters in the long run how much money an interest group has. Yes, it does, because that gives money for research and campaign contributions and paying lobbyists to convince members of Congress to vote certain ways. Money talks. And it does matter. It's like a direct relationship to your power, oftentimes by how much money you can get. And Angelica wants to know if I think the stimulus program will work. Well, I don't know. I don't think anybody knows. I believe that in the short run we'll be better off. There are signs that things are turning around already this spring. But no one knows for sure what the long-term outcome will be, because the macroeconomic systemic problems like the budget deficit, the trade deficit, the high cost of entitlements, the trade imbalance, regulation of the banks and so forth. To see if it works or not, we'll probably have to wait about 2 years, I think, and of course that'll give us time to make a judgment before the next presidential election. Thanks a lot for sending those questions in. I hope you learned a few things, and I hope your answers were satisfactory. Go well, and good luck on the final exam.